So good. You watch that Baylor game yet? Check out that.
No, just highlights.
I think I went and found the whole thing. That's where
Ron's watching the cut up from the 2023 Baylor versus TCU game.
If I could get the all 22, and I'm watching defense, I just want to see him on the sideline. I like seeing how he operates on the sideline too. This kid's a special guy. All right, fellas, we getting closer. What are we about a week away from preseason action? Preseason action, which means hold your breath, Patrick Mahomes. Why are you playing in it? But we know that Andy's going to make him play a series or two. Everybody hold their breath and cross their fingers. Honest to God, I mean, I know we didn't plan on going here, but I just want to make it clear, and I know we'll talk about it later. I do not think 15 or 87 need to touch the field. Just want to say that right now. I don't think either one of them need to. 95 either, just to be frank. That's going to be my vote, and I know all three of them are going to play.
Hey, Chris Jones got his veteran day off. He got his veteran day off. Now, they said it was for a groin, but he got a veteran day off.
If I were the, and I might get fired doing this, but if I were like the equipment manager people, I'd lose their stuff. I'd hide it and blame it on other people, but I hide it so they just couldn't get a hold of it, and then it'd show up like after the game, for practice the next day. I'd hide their stuff.
Do you think Kelsey plays this year? I feel like this would if ever there was a time where he might actually not really see more than a snap or two, this could potentially be the year. I could see it.
It is. I mean, and they reworked his deal, and that was total right off into the sunset contract restructure. So this would be the year where they're just no, he doesn't need to.
Listen, I think clearly he has 6 more years in him, and they're just gonna slowly but surely. He deserves this. Give him this thing. Give this. And really, hell, he's been talking about it all off season. I mean, it keeps coming up. Yeah, man. You know, all of the wear and tear, let him have that. He's been setting up. Let me set these preseason games out.
Also, they have tight ends like Gray, Wiley, Irv Smith. You've got dudes. So this is the time.
Oh, the Wileynator. Yes. We got
to workshop that. Wileynator.
Listen, hey, look.
Irv Smith's gonna wind up getting more snaps.
Don't take that away from me. I'm feeling that. I'm in the zone. Okay, that doesn't mean that we're gonna go with the Wileynator, but don't try to take that away while I'm feeling it. By the way, hearing good things about Irv Smith. Looking good. So yeah, they got options.
No, you're not.
I've tried. I've read at least one line of Irv Smith looks good.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I mean, yeah, I'm excited.
He literally looks good. He is wearing a good uniform number, and aesthetically, he's pleasing to look at as he's running onto the field. That's what they meant, I'm assuming.
I thought Irv Smith was going to be better when he was with the Vikings.
I did too. I mean, he's another get off the bus fella that looks good. Looks good. Something doesn't quite go right. Can I ask you all this real quick? If the Chiefs had to play a game right now, what 3 wide come out? What's the cornerback situation? I mean, I know we got Trent McDuffie. All right, how you go? Fired up. All right, let's get to the next names.
McDuffie is Justin Reed healthy? That's a big piece of this.
Okay, you can't say McDuffie twice. All right?
No.
Just say it twice. You try to get 2 McDuffies out there. Sure. Give me a healthy Justin Houston.
And then Shamari Connor's in the slot.
Okay.
Joshua Williams?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Is it Joshua?
He's a full-blown starter right now until Jalen Watson gets healthy.
Najee Johnson.
He's hurt too. So
Kelvin Joseph? It's a question. Let's put it that way. It's open-ended at the moment. There's more
Nick
question
Jones
marks.
maybe in the mix.
This is like now we're going too far. Like I can give you like we can't go past the Nick Jones. All right, we can't. Like we got we got to chill on that. But like this is a bit of a situation right now, and like you have, I think we could argue the best defensive coordinator in football. I think that's a very serious argument. I think there's an argument he was last year. And Steve Spagnuolo. But I guess we're in a position where you got to lean on Spags with this. And I guess he's earned that. But, man, when you say it out loud, I'm like, yo, Steve, are you confident in this? Because I'm not as confident on that, especially that second corner. And don't even get us started if you got to go beyond that. Like that is a situation that looks a lot different than what the hell you was dealing with last year.
It does, but I think he's kind of earned the benefit of the doubt. Like at this point, if there's one position that I'm willing to give Steve Spagnuolo the benefit of the doubt at, it's corner. I mean, you think back to the early years with Spags as the corner, as the defensive coordinator, I like legitimately wondered, do they value the cornerback position?
Yes, because you would say they don't need one. They
were like 4th round, 5th round pick, 6th round pick. Come on in. We're going to coach you up and you're going to be a starter by week 6. Like Travarius Ward, hey, week 7, let's see what it looks like out there, big boy. Bashad Breeland, we're just going to make this work and we're going to win the Super Bowl with you as a starting level corner for us for multiple seasons. Rashad Fenton, who everybody agreed when he was selected, oh boy, man, athletically, like this is not going to work. Became a starter and was really solid for them. L'Jarius Sneed was a safety in college, came in, worked in the slot for a while, and then eventually became an all-pro corner for the Kansas City Chiefs. So is it concerning that I look at the depth chart right now and I legitimately cannot tell you with certainty who the number 2 corner is on the team? It's terrifying, absolutely. And for most teams, I would be saying this is red alarm bells blinking all along. Not for this team, dude. Like I trust Steve Spagnuolo. I trust Dave Merritt. I think they're going to be able to make this work. And we've just seen them do it with Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson enough that I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. I do think it is concerning. Like, and it's a conversation we have to keep having and monitoring because I was talking myself into the secondary, and now with the injuries piling up, I'm like, oh no, where's the depth at? Where there's too many guys that we have question marks about heading into the season. But I agree with BK, and I've just seen Steve Spagnuolo and that defensive coaching staff just figure it out too many times and like set guys up in positions to succeed and get the most out of them. And I think especially Spags, with the way we've seen him adapt to the personnel that he has over the years and the way he deploys these multiple safety looks and stuff. And athletically, like everything that he asks his safeties to do to help complement the cornerbacks and all of that stuff, like it all plays together. And so I have full confidence that they will figure it out. But my initial thoughts of like, I think the secondary is still going to be like one of the best secondaries in football. Now I'm really starting to question that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, they're just going to have to play different, right? That's my thing is I think you're right that he deserves the benefit of the doubt, and we've seen that he can kind of morph his defense to being very, very heavy in terms of guys up front, and that being the big part of his defense where his D-line. And I think when he gets completely healthy and he brings in, Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana, and if they could ever get anything out of their first-round draft pick from last year, and George and obviously Chris Jones, that they can have a very, very threatening front in which they get a lot of pressure, and that's where their defense comes from. But we saw last year the change of that, where it was almost at times, dependent on their secondary. And my only thing is they desperately need Justin Reed to get healthy. Yep. And they need, because I'm okay with this corner thing if their safeties are good enough to combat it. if their safeties are gonna can he legitimately play 3 safeties on the field at once? And if everybody's healthy, I think that is plausible. But right now, they are in a situation where, man, they lose somebody, and now this thing looks really shaky. But if Justin Reed can play and be good, and they got their complement of safeties, I think they can make it work.
Think about when we've seen this defense at its best, right? Just like, where is it functioning at its best? It's the middle of the field. Like when Tyrann Mathieu was at his peak and you saw him just erasing stuff across the middle of the field. That's what made everything go. You think about what took this defense to the next level. It's, oh, wow, they have linebackers now that can do stuff in the middle of the field. Like, it's not Anthony Hitchens out there any longer. It's not Damian Wilson out there any longer. Like, you have real dudes. Oh, Daniel Sorensen no longer being asked to be in the middle of this defense. Now they've got guys that are really capable of filling the role that he previously held. And so that's why I think it's so important that they get Justin Reed back healthy and at his peak, because Reed's a big part of that. Brian Cook is a big part of that. And when you have those two guys back there, it allows Shamari Connor to now go into the slot and be that L'Jarius Sneed type of early career L'Jarius Sneed role. Right now, he's being asked to play more of the traditional safety looks. And I don't think that's where this defense is going to be at its best in 2024. When you've got the guys in the middle of the field that can make things go there, it makes the job a lot easier for the outside corners in this defense. And I think that's what they need. They need the job to be a little easier for whoever that number 2 corner is opposite McDuffie this year, since you told me that I can't have 2 of him.
No, you can't have 2 of them. I feel a lot better. I do feel a lot better about the situation if they have Cook, Connor, and Justin Reed, and then they're bringing the young kid along with them. They're bringing Jaden Hicks along with them, and then they've got 4 guys back there. I feel a lot better about that situation, and so that's what we got to play off. But like we said, Spags, his area of expertise is the secondary, and he's been able to hide and develop guys. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm not sure I believe it, but hopefully Joshua Williams has developed some more, and he is a better player now. And these young guys that could come in, Johnson too, that they've developed and they're better players now. I'm gonna tell you one spot though that I can keep looking at it, and I can keep flipping it and looking through here, and I want to give Spags the benefit of the doubt. That linebacking core is, I'm sorry, making me nervous. That group, I can see them putting that thing together. But this linebacker core, like we've talked about Sneed a ton, but that Willie Gay loss, that makes this group in terms of just athleticism, sideline to sideline, running down things, coverage. It makes this group look a lot different. And then you see Nick Bolton go down. Like, somebody tell me what happens if Nick Bolton, like last year Nick Bolton went down. Hey, Drew Tranquil, come on in, baby. Come on in. We got you. You feel good. That's a starting caliber linebacker. Hell, he did it the year before with Willie Gay. Who comes in the game? Who comes in the game if Nick Bolton get hurt? Is it Curtis Jacobs?
It's Cochran, right? It's got to be Jack Cochran.
Is it Jack
we
Cochran?
joked around about Jack Cochran seeing playing time last year. I don't want to see Jack Cochran in the regular season.
I got to be honest. I have a depth chart up, and Jack ain't even on it. So I mean, I like they don't even have Jack on the damn thing. So I mean, Jack gave us some run a little bit, but is it Cam Jones, Curtis Jacobs, Owen Carney? I don't know, like that I'm just rounding off them names. That I can't just say Spags got it. Like that don't look great.
The depth defensively at linebacker, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. If the Chiefs are going to pick up somebody, off of waivers, or they're going to go out there and make a trade, or like just sign somebody after they're cut from another team at the end of camp, linebacker feels like the most likely spot for that. Because beyond the front three, beyond Tranquil, Bolton, and Chenal, who I feel really good about, I like all three of those guys as your starters. Dude, they got nobody. Like, nobody. And last year, I remember Serda made the point a million different times about how deep this defense was and how many guys, like, behind the starters you trusted to become starters if you needed them to. Like, last year, you went into the season and you had backups at safety. You're like, hey, if they've got it, Mike Edwards, if he's got to be a starter for 4 or 5 weeks, you can make that work. You need a defensive end to start while Charles Omenihu is out suspended. Mike Dana's got it. He's totally cool with that. Linebacker, you don't have that this year, man. There is no depth whatsoever. And maybe Cochran or Christensen or Jones or Jacobs or whomever, maybe they end up becoming good players and they surprise all of us. But right now, if you're looking for proven depth, it doesn't exist on this roster at linebacker.
Serda, is that how you would describe the feel of that starting linebacking crew? As you like them?
The top three?
Is
that how you would describe it?
I definitely
Do you not like the top three?
They got a lot of fine to me. I like Nick Bolton a lot. And Drew kind of has his injury things, but I like Drew. But
is it Chenal? That's the one that's stopping you?
It's certainly.
It's just their. Go ahead, sir.
It certainly feels more limited than last year's group.
Great, damn it, that's it.
Because like Tranquil, great versatile linebacker, can play in coverage, can go make plays like up around the line of scrimmage, like just great all around linebacker for the Chiefs defense. And I feel like Nick Bolton pre-injury last season was showing like improvement in coverage and stuff, but we also know that like he's just going to be limited there. Like there's only so much you can do as a player to compensate for like lack of athleticism. And Nick Bolton just has some limitations there. And I think Leo has some of those limitations too, but like we've seen Leo improve both of his years in the NFL. So it's like, does Leo have another place to go now that he's going to be taking over for Willie Gay, who we knew was a proven member of the Chiefs defense and a hyper athletic linebacker that brought an element to that group that they didn't have in years prior? Like, I don't know if Leo's that guy. So I do think that they're lacking juice that they had last season, certainly.
This is the best way that I can explain it. And I like when you said they're more limited. Not that they're limited as a whole, but they're more limited. Like, I look at all three of them, and I would feel good if they were all three of them were the Mike linebacker. I think Drew is at his best when he's the Mike linebacker. Like, I would feel good that way. But now when one's got to play, Will or Sam or however they do that, it feels different. I'm not going to say it feels like they got 3 middle linebackers out there because I don't think that's fair. But it feels like to me, as of now, what I've seen, maybe all of their best positions may be middle linebacker.
It's interesting. This is like we very rarely are vehemently in disagreement on this show. I feel like for the most part, it's like at least 2 of us are kind of in line, or we can see the other. I'm surprised by this. I actually really like their top 3 linebackers going into this season, and I think
you've added really to this now.
Yeah, I've gone a little step up, like just to distance myself a little bit further from you to make sure that people are very aware that we really disagree on this.
Well, I think they're really fine. I think they're a really fine group.
I think Chenal is perfect in that Sam linebacker role where he's just going to be right up near the line of scrimmage for the most part. He's going to be stuffing the run. Like, that's his role. We all know it. And he's going to be good in that role. Don't ask him to move sideways. He doesn't do that. He moves forward. He is similar to what DK Metcalf is as a receiver. Don't ask him to turn. Ask him to go straight. He's going to be good in that capacity. Ask him to do more. You're going to be a little limited in that regard. But I think he's going to be good in that role. I think Nick Bolton is like severely underrated by Chiefs fans, generally speaking. I think we're all on the same page with him. People care too much about what he can't do and don't talk enough about what he does do. And then I think Drew Tranquill is probably the guy we disagree on the most, would be my guess, based on the way that you described him. I think he's perfect in this role. I think he's going to be excellent as a guy that can just chase the play down. I think that's where he's at his best. I think he's more athletic than people give him credit for as well. So I think it's a really good linebacker core. I just think they lack depth.
Yeah. To me, like when you say the things about Chanel, like, yeah, let's hope offenses acquiesce to that and just say, hey, man, let's. Because to me,
he's going to be on the field like 30% of the time. Because
sure, I'm just saying, and at that 30% of the time, I think some of the smart offensive coordinators are not just going to do what his strength is.
Yeah,
and they're going to.
I would attack Leo. I would get him matched up against an explosive player.
Yes, and then they're going to take him off the field, and then they're going to run the ball a lot when you get a nickel. And I wonder what that looks like. I'm not saying that they're trash, right?
That's what I heard, but
I know that's what you heard. It's weird. I can't believe I didn't think I would react to just a difference of Willie Gay being gone and Drew Tranquill being a backup as a fourth, but they just don't seem as explosive. And
the other thing is, like, Willie wasn't around for a decent portion of last season. And I didn't think that Willie necessarily had as good of a year as I was expecting either. Like, I think there's a decent chance that you leave the season saying, I think that Tranquill's a better player than Willie Gay was.
Might be. Let's hope so. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. And hopefully he stays healthy and he is able to be around. But like, you got Drew as your starter. Like, that's what I say. It's not Drew as much as it is Chanel, and his inability to do the other things well enough that he's not as good as, of which I think teams are going to make him do, and then that makes you have to change your defense and creates other issues. So I don't know. I mean, I give him all the benefit of the doubt with that secondary. That linebacker core, I just can't. I'm serious. I've rattled off that damn depth chart. Scared the hell out of me just now reading it again. Who's this Bozeman fella? I mean, it is
Swayze. Yeah. First name Swayze. That's got to be. He's got to be named after Patrick White.
Swayze. Oh no, I don't. Bozeman. You think so?
Swayze Bozeman's a hell of a football name.
It is. Can he? I mean, he's from Mississippi. I mean, I don't know. Now that I see his picture, he does look like a fella that could have been named after Patrick Swayze. It looks like a fella.
What are you doing there, Ron? What are you doing there?
I'm doing the hell. You know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, there's a gentleman from. There may be somebody else from Flora, Mississippi. They might have a different look that you might say, this must be, maybe it's a family name. That fella right there.
I think
that's Swayze Bozeman.
We need to get Pete on this. We need Pete to do a one-on-one with Swayze Bowman. And the only question is, can you tell me where you got your name? Like what is the genesis of Swayze?
Now he's Dirty Dancing, right? For some reason, I can get him and Kurt Russell. Yes. I can get him and Kurt Russell confused.
The Outsiders. We talked about that the other day.
Pat Swayze. Yeah, some reason he's Ghost, right? Him and Goldie Hawn's husband. I could get confused at time to time.
Kurt Russell.
Yes, Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze for some reason. Like, is he Roadhouse or is he?
It's Roadhouse.
Yeah, he's Roadhouse. All right. Well, good for him, Swayze. Hopefully, we never see you on the field. But
hey, man,
I will say this: I feel good about the tackle position. I know we were talking about going into into camp, like maybe one of the biggest real position battles was at left tackle. I feel good as it being a position of growth that will grow and grow continually during the rest of the season. And like you've said about Spags, making stuff work, I like the thought of having a big, talented kid that they've brought in that they can continue to have growth and get better and make work. I am very comfortable with Kingston being the tackle. It seems like, right, he's the guy. It feels like he's getting a lot of the first team reps. I feel good about the situation. I love it. I love
that Ron. So his last name,
maybe love it is strong, but I like it.
His last name is Suamataia, and Ron somehow messed up Kingsley. Going with Kingston.
Did I call him Kingston? Yeah, Kingsley. Kingston. All right.
I caught it too. I was going to let it slide.
I was going to let it go, but I was like, man, if you mess up his last name, that's more than understandable. It's Kingsley, man.
Is it Kingsley? Kingston? Well, I mean,
somebody yelled at me in the YouTube comments for saying his last name wrong the other day, and I did say it wrong, but I've said it properly dozens of times.
Who are those people?
I feel like you deserve grace if whether you're a Chiefs fan, Chiefs reporter, whatever. Like, if you say Suamataia incorrectly, you deserve grace for the next calendar year.
And if you say Kingston instead of Kingsley, I think you get a little grace. I'm happy about Kingston and Kingsley, to be honest with you. Both of them.
It's the name of my girlfriend's dog.
I wonder what Sean Kingston's up to nowadays. Suamataia, I'm a little surprised they're doing this. It does kind of remind me of what they've done on the defensive side of the ball, where they tried, especially at cornerback, to like patch things over for years, right? They would just bring in these older veterans and they would get these 5th or 6th round rookies and be like, we're going to patch this thing together. It'll work. We'll figure it out. And eventually they're like, you know what? We need more talent at the position. We need to get younger at the position. And now they've just thrown a bunch of assets at it and they've gotten young and good at that position. At tackle, dude, basically since Eric Fisher left, they've been trying to patch that thing together with older, veteran, expensive players at the position. And now they finally said, we got to get young and we got to do something different. We got to tear the Band-Aid off. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like. And my assumption was they would get into camp, see it for like a week, get the pads on and say, you know what? This isn't good enough. We've got Patrick Mahomes. We saw what it looks like when we don't have the requisite level of tackles on the field. Let's call up one of the available offensive tackles via free agency, most likely Donovan, and we'll make that work. And that'll just be our fix at the position. And then I saw Andy Reid today, his comment that said, I love the competition at tackle. Both of them are competing their tails off. Quote, I feel comfortable with both of them at this point with where they're at. They've got to keep working, getting better every day. That's what they're doing. That's the mindset they're in, etc. Like all of that is what you'd expect. I feel comfortable with both of them at this point is maybe the single most significant quote that we've seen from anybody at training camp so far this year. That tells me they feel good about it. And if Andy feels good about his tackle situation with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback, hey man, who am I to disagree with what he has to say about that?
But do you? Do you feel good about it?
It just makes me nervous, man. Like, you have the single most valuable person in the entire sport and the guy that is tasked with the most difficult job of blocking for his blind side is going to be a guy that is a 2nd round rookie or somebody who Wanye Morris, they saw him for like 3 games last year and immediately upon Donovan Smith being healthy again said, that wasn't good enough. We got to go to the guy in Donovan who's been like barely league average at best for the season. So it makes me nervous, but I just, similar to the corner stuff with what they have with Spags, I trust Andy on the offensive line for the most part.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling better about it just based off of their reactions in training camp and really how they're deploying Kingsley, because like that was the biggest question to me is like, we all knew it before training camp even started. Like Kingsley is the guy they clearly want to be their starting left tackle. Like best case scenario, it's Kingsley day one. And he looks like he is good enough to be like, okay, he is a plug and play starter and we don't got to worry about that spot now. And then Wanye is best suited as the swing tackle guy that can come in and supply depth. And we've seen him play valuable snaps for the Chiefs in a small sample size already. But like the fact that as soon as the pads came on, it was like, oh, it's clear that it's Kingsley at this point. And unless he is really, really struggling in camp it seems like that is the plan moving forward. We still have a ton to learn. Like, we have to get to preseason games and see how these guys do, because I think that's when a lot of decisions are made too, is during the preseason, getting live reps against an actual opponent. And then you reassess once you go back to practice and say, okay, this is where we need more help at. This is where we need the answers. Who's available? Is there anybody that we can go out and make a cheap trade for? Or is there somebody that we can sign right now and get them into pads? Like, but right now, like, I think so far the early returns have been really encouraging about Kingsley and what the Chiefs were hoping that they got in him.
Yeah, especially how convicted Andy sounds. I roll with Andy just like I would roll with Spags. I mean, I would challenge you two with the thought of this. Like, how many times in this 6-year run, right, 6-7-year run with Patrick Mahomes, have you felt like we got a left tackle over there that we ain't even got to worry about? You know what I mean? Like, where you've ever been like, like, hey, man, like, they got it over there. I have never felt that way, whether it's Eric Fish. And I know they've had some Pro Bowlers, and I do feel like there's a bit of Chiefs offense sometimes. Like, I think Fisher and Orlando Brown have been the best. But I never was sitting there thinking, like, yo, man, they'll lock this down. You ain't got to worry about that. That's why, to me, another one is just they seem to figure this kind of stuff out, and they've just, to me, never had an elite tackle.
But that's not really how I view the offensive line. Like, I view the offensive line as being a weakest link position more so than I do like do you have an elite guy on the unit, right? Like, you look around the league and some of the better offensive lines don't even necessarily have anybody that are like household names. They're just, all of them are pretty good. And if you can do that, you're in a good spot. The problem is when you have one guy that brings everybody down. If you've got one like clear, decisive weakness that defensive coordinators are going to go into that game and say, attack 76 from the moment that the ball is snapped. From snap one till the end of this game, we are blitzing from him. We are doing stunts next to him. Like, whatever the issue is, we are attacking that guy from start to finish. When that becomes an issue for you, it's really hard to mask it. And so that's where I would say, like, to your question directly, Ron, have I felt great about their tackle position? No, I didn't even feel great about Orlando Brown Jr. I thought he was fine. Like, to use your word about the linebackers, he was fine. But he got the job done. It was like above the replacement levels, and that's all that you really need. My fear with Kingsley or Wanye is, are they going to meet that level? Like, can they simply be league average left tackles? Because that's all I need. As a rookie or second-year player, super cheap, getting the job done and potentially filling that position for the next 5 to 7 years, if you can go in there and in your first full season as a starter, be league average, dude, I am ready to sign up for that today, because it's something that the Chiefs haven't had since Eric Fisher was a rookie at that position. The concern is, what if they aren't? What if they don't meet that requisite level? What does that then look like? And what does that mean for the offense? And I don't know what the odds are of it going in either direction, but that's my fear on the downside.
And do you think a Donovan Smith addition is something that brings them to that if they figure out Wanye or Kingsley aren't able to meet those expectations?
I think he did last year. I think he met the like level of net. I mean, they won the Super Bowl, so I think he was at that level a year ago.
Steve, I will be shocked if Kingsley is the starting tackle or Wanye are the starting tackle, and by like week 10 they have it. They're not in that range.
Yeah,
like they've not grown to that range.
Well, and I think the reason we've seen the Chiefs like commit so hard to Kingsley is because I just think that Kingsley has a ceiling that Wanye probably just doesn't. And they're like seeing it early in camp. So it's like, yeah, I'm not saying Kingsley's going to come out and be a perennial Pro Bowler or something, but with the rest of the offensive line and how good everybody else is, and we'll see if Jawan Taylor can bounce back and make improvements. But like, if they can get what they paid for in Jawan Taylor this season, like, we know the interior is going to be solid. So I think they just need average tackle play on the other side. And if they get above average, that's tremendous because they've been searching for that for a long time. But we've also seen Patrick Mahomes like find success outside of one game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, where like he can overcome the offensive line issues here and there, except in the situation where it just totally falls apart.
Yeah, I feel good about it. Andy's stamp is a big deal. Like right now, like I think he feel because hell, man, I was watching Wanya Morris, and there were times for me, until the end where I was like, man, hell, they need to play him over Donovan Smith. Hell, I think we had conversations towards the end of the season until that Raider game happened, but we had conversations, and so I think by the second half of the year, I think I would predict by the second half of the year they're better at left tackle than they were last year. Like to me, just through growth.
If they are, then not only is that a massive boost for them this season, obviously because you got better at a position, in one of the more important positions, it's such a big boost for like the next potential decade. Because now if you've got a guy in Kingsley Suamataia, especially if he's the one that becomes the starter, and it feels like right now, I agree with you, Serda, it feels like it's kind of his job to lose, honestly. Dude, like it's found money. It allows them to pay Creed Humphrey. It allows them to maybe bring back somebody like a Hollywood Brown next year or pay a wide receiver. Like if you have that position locked down and you're getting it for a couple $1 million, the amount of flexibility that allows you elsewhere it's really hard to describe.
Yeah. It's really impressive. Like it's just a massive advantage if they get that in him, because the Chiefs wanted to pay Trent Williams, and Trent Williams is obviously excellent, but the 49ers paid Trent Williams and the rest of their offensive line is absolute garbage. And the Chiefs have investments along the offensive line. They can afford to do that because they're not paying a left tackle. Would
he be considered the biggest X factor on this team? Is he, or is him playing left tackle? Is that an X factor? Or does that take him out of that? Because
so I feel like everybody, it's so interesting, man. Like everybody has a different definition of what they consider to be an X factor. Because like you'll go into a game, right, and somebody will be like, "Who's the X factor in this one?" Oh, I'm going to tell you. I think it's going to be Travis Kelce. He's the X factor in this one. It's like, what does he?
You expect him?
He's the best player. Like I don't understand. For me, like the way that I would define an X factor on is somebody that you're really not expecting much of anything from. But if they hit their ceiling, like for the season, if we're talking about the Chiefs 2024 X factor player, if they were to hit their ceiling, it completely changes how you feel about the team, right? Maybe it's that position, it's that unit.
So
whatever.
Is that Kingsley?
I think if he becomes a starter, like you need to expect something out of him.
Yeah.
So for me, he would be out of that conversation.
Yeah, his position is too important.
For me, if I'm putting together my list of like, hey, who's going to be the X factor for the Chiefs in 2024? It starts with Felix Anudike-Uzomah. We are finally hearing.
You're like a show off here. You just want to get all these last names that are tough. Like just
I'm not even sure I really had like a lot of confidence saying that one. It was an adventure to get through. This dude is like,
oh, you said it like you did, man. Just stop it. Just say FAU or whatever. Like no.
He had a tough year last year, man. He came in and there was basically zero expectations. They needed one play out of him. It came in the Super Bowl and he made it, and that was it. Otherwise, like it was a redshirt season in every sense. And now he came in. It's like, all right, dude, we kind of need you. Like year 2 is when it has to happen. It's very rare that a defensive end fails to produce by year 2 and goes on to have a successful NFL career. If they don't do it now at this point, it's probably not going to happen at any point for you. So this is the year. There's an opportunity. Charles Omenihu out for potentially the first 6 weeks of the season. He could be the number 3 defensive end. And in that role, there are opportunities for you, man. You can go in there and have like a 6, 7, 8 sack season, and it's not crazy to think about. You could be this year what Mike Dano was for them at times last year. I just have no idea what to expect out of their first round pick from this time last year, dude. Like I have no clue So for me, that's the X factor. If that dude reaches his ceiling of what they hope that he could be, otherwise they wouldn't have selected him 32nd overall. It really changes the outlook for the pass rush, and it takes them up that much more, because now you've got 4 or 5 dudes that you trust coming off of the edge. And if he doesn't, early in the season, you really just have 2 of those guys.
Yeah, I think Felix is a good one. If he
damn sure counts.
If he can just be a situational pass rusher, like just come in and give them a boost and get some pressure here and there and like free up other guys, like it would just be a massive boost for the defensive line. Mine's Chamari Connor. Like, I'm obsessed with Chamari Connor. Like, I just think that Chamari Connor is going to be so good, and he showed so much promise like last season, and they kind of just like threw him into this role and we're like, we need you to be this versatile player. And we drafted you because we think that you have that kind of skill set and you have the athletic profile to do that. And when they drafted him, a lot of like draft analysts were like, this is just like a special teams player. And last season, he was tremendous every time they had to call upon him and deploy him into the secondary. And now he's going to have a significant role in the defense this year. And I'm excited to see how he's deployed in that kind of Swiss Army knife, Steve Spagnuolo type of role. And I feel like if I had to bet on like another player in this secondary, like being one of those guys that comes out of nowhere, like the Chiefs had with L'Jarius Sneed, where, you know, unless you're paying hyper close attention to the Chiefs, you're like, where the hell did they get this guy? Like, what is going on? How do they keep finding these dudes out of thin air and turning them into like star players? Like, I feel like Chamari Connor is a player that's capable of having that kind of like impact season and becoming a significant part of the Chiefs defense and like a key part of it.
Yeah, he's interesting. I expect a little bit out of him, but I mean, it sounds like you think that he could be.
I just like his game. I like his game. I think he could be a stud.
For me, to go along what you said there, Stevie, with the like how the hell they find these guys. I think there are going to be 2 people where people are going to be like these guys just keep getting these guys in the draft. How come my team doesn't do that? And it's JW12. Still kind of working through that one too.
JW12.
We're trying, man.
Did you just take TB12 and like, hey, he's number 12. His initials are JW. Let's go with that.
Too many syllables for
J-Dub. 12.
J-Dub. Just go J-Dub. That'll work.
No,
J-Dub.
I need more. J-Dub 12. JW 12. Him and the kid I mentioned earlier from Washington State, whose name has escaped me at this what the hell's his kid's name?
Jaden Hicks.
Yeah, Jaden Hicks. I think first of all, I think Jaden Hicks is going to play. I think somebody in that secondary is going to get hurt, and I hate to wish that upon anybody. I mean, how many guys in that secondary went down last year? I mean, I feel like they're going to be safe. They've already started with Justin Reed potentially injured, and they have not done anything to go and say, oh, we're going to go add a veteran or something yet. I'm sure they can still do that, but I think Hicks is going to play, and he is somebody that if he isn't forced to have to do it early and he gets to grow into it, I think that is going to be somebody they're like, they just found another Brian Cook. Like, they just found another guy back there, and then J.W. Wiley is just special. I mean, this fella here, I mean, he's just, again, if you haven't taken a look at the Baylor TCU tape, I would really urge you to go run to that.
I love that Ron becomes John Gruden when talking about Jared Wiley. This guy right here.
I don't like 12. I don't like 12 on a tight end.
I think he could really make anything work. I do. I love it. I really do. Wow. I just take a look at the fella. I mean, 6'6", 249.
He was 19 in college, and I wonder if maybe he's 19 next year.
I mean, do you see some of the like I'm watching him in camp. Like, he is going to be a use in the red zone. I mean, a big time. I mean, he's got, like, who do you think has more touchdowns? Who do you think has more touchdowns or sacks? You think FAU has more sacks?
Ooh, that is a fun one.
Or do you think JW12, the great one, the little great one, the mini great one, has more touchdowns?
I feel like the great one's taken.
Not the mini great one. I think he has at least five touchdowns.
I'd pick FAU in that situation.
Really?
Man, I
just think
so badly
want
to pick
FAU ahead of Jared Wiley.
You think what?
I think there's too many mouths to feed ahead of Jared Wiley.
Not in the red zone.
I think the number is 4 for both, right?
Yeah.
Over under.
And I just can't see myself not taking the over on JW12.
God, I want it so badly for FAU. I really want it for him, man. I'd probably take Felix, but
hater.
It'd be fun, dude. Jared Wiley, if he finishes with like 6 touchdowns next year, God, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. But and Felix is getting at the playing time early in the season. Like, I just don't feel like Jared Wiley's going to be heavily involved unless until later in the year.
Dude, but Felix has to produce, because if he doesn't early on, it'll be George, Dana, Herring, and then they'll kick out Chris Jones to defensive end, and Felix will be like just a reserve player, because they've got Turk, they've got Pennell, they've got Dickerson as well. Like they can play those dudes at defensive tackle and push Jones back out to defensive end occasionally. Felix better perform, or he's not going to get the opportunities that should be there for him early in the season. That's what makes me nervous.
You think Noah Gray is still ahead of him right now?
Seems like it.
Probably, but he shouldn't be.
We'll figure that out. And he's not crazy. Not in the red zone.
By the way, Travis Kelce had 5 touchdowns last year.
That's all right.
It's a down year for the offense.
It's a down year for the offense.
My God, man. I think we're underestimating how much more fun this offense is going to be.
I'm not. And when you got a guy like JW12 roaming around there, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this fella here, the mini great one. God, man, I can't wait to see his touchdown celebration. Oh my God, man. I wonder who he's going to potentially date. Like, he's going to follow right in the footsteps of 87.
By the way, I told you, we haven't talked about it. I told you that in that the Hallmark movie, one of the first guys that they announced, McCole Hardman. I told you that was going to be the case.
Yeah, you really did just nail that.
I'm proud of him. Sky Moore didn't get that chance. Has he got cut yet? All right.
2 weeks. My guy Nico Remigio is 100% making the team over him. I'm not kidding.
Nico spoke to the media today. I don't even think Sky Moore is going to ask to speak to the media all camp.
Yeah,
dude, Sky should opt out of playing in the preseason, because if he does, I don't know that he's going to get another chance, dude.
They don't let Sky do social media. Like he can't even get a social media interview, let alone go to the podium.
Dude, did you see the highlight that was posted of him today? I think it was today. So he gets this deep ball.
Good one.
And it's like, man, all right, there you go, Sky. You stacked the corner, like you allowed yourself the opportunity to have some space to the outside. He has to double catch it, and then doesn't get a second toe in bounds, man. Like, even on the highlight that was posted, he screwed it up.
Do you remember who threw it?
It doesn't matter.
I know. I'm just saying. I think that's a real telltale sign of him making this team. Who threw that ball to him?
Do you know the answer?
I don't. I'm thinking it. I don't even think it was Carson Wentz. I believe it's whoever is.
It's probably Oladokin.
God, man, that's where he is.
Man.
That lets you know. Oh, hell yeah.
They didn't show who was the quarterback
because they don't want to embarrass Guy. Just rip off the bandage, man. It's over. It's done. Just
dude, you think I haven't?
Oh, I know. You just said 2 weeks. You two ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You two you don't even. There's no compassion. You guys are just hurt and hurt people, hurt others.
I get out way quicker than I get in.
I blame the Chiefs earlier this week. God, this guy more thing.
Talking about I blame the Chiefs for the hype. No, you two were the number one hypers.
I'm out on Tony too, by the way.
Oh, you're out of him a running back? I'm over you. We are out. You gotta be kidding me.